Hey again. So today I'm going to make my family's traditional fruit salad. Now I've been having fruit salad like this since I was a little kid. I think my grandma made it like this. This is the way my mother made it, kind of how she showed me how to do it. First I'll just kind of show you the ingredients that's going to go in it. I'll show you a little bit of the cutting it up part, and then we'll put together a dressing that's going to go on it. So got some nice fresh pears. I'm going to taste them before I put them in. If I don't like them, or if they're too hard or something, I'll use canned. Not too bad. These apples are Honey Crisp. So I get these for the flavor, and then I use the regular Red Delicious more for the color, but I kind of like the taste of, something a little different. If you get all Red Delicious, you might want to try to eliminate some of the skin, because the skin on these can be pretty thick and hard. We're going to put some bananas in. I usually just add these just before serving, because if you make it like this tomorrow, we're going to be eating this. So I like to make it a day ahead so it kind of gets a chance to marinate in the dressing. Put your bananas in at the last minute because they'll turn brown on you. Peaches aren't available this time of year, so I use sliced in just regular juice. Drain the juice, chunk up the peaches, and put it in. I've got some nice fresh oranges off of my friend's tree. I got 4 of those. I just finished cutting up a pineapple, and so there's probably a couple of cups of pineapple in there. I've got red flame grapes and green grapes and maraschino cherries. So that's everything that goes into the salad. And then the dressing, which I'll give you the amounts on that later. Mayonnaise, what we used to call pet milk or evaporated milk, and about maybe half a cup of sugar. So you start out with a little less than that, kind of put sugar in it to taste. So that's everything. We're going to mix it up in a big bowl. So what we'll do now is just go ahead and cut it up, and then we'll get towards the finishing this thing up. See you in a minute. Okay, so here we go. First thing, I just sliced the grapes in half. Whole trick to this thing is just kind of make everything bite-sized. You don't want anything huge. Like I just chunked up the pineapple. I did a little video on how to cut up a pineapple, but after I did the video, then I just took and made chunks out of that. So that's kind of the first ingredient I'll throw in. These are just nice fresh pineapple chunks, probably about 2 cups in there. Then got the grapes here. I'll just fast forward through this, and I'll come back when I'm done slicing these up. Okay, just finishing up the grapes here. Just a couple minutes. There you go. Well, there's probably, I don't know, 1.5 pounds of grapes there, something like that. One thing about this recipe is make it to size. So we're probably going to have 15, 20 people over here tomorrow. So I want to make one big enough for that crowd. But if you just want to make it for a few people, then just do something small, So next we'll do our pears. Like I said, I want to taste this thing before I put it in. Yeah, it's good. It's nice and juicy and ripe. So a lot of times you buy pears and they're too hard and not very tasty. But so if you get that, then just use the canned. But these are good. So my grandmother and my mom both would always add canned fruit cocktail to their fruit salad. They make it just like this basically, but instead of using fresh pears, they would use canned. And instead of using some canned peaches, which I have, they would just use the fruit cocktail, which, like I said, it had pears, peaches, maraschino cherries, and seems like it had something else in it, but it would have those ingredients. But I found that, you know, when you buy fruit cocktail, a lot of the stuff that's in there is kind of the trash. So I prefer fresh if I can get it. Like I said, I can't get fresh peaches, so I'm going to use the canned peaches. But everything else, I kind of like to go with the fresh. If you want to cut down, the other thing, doing it that way, the way they did with the canned fruit cocktail, would make the whole thing less labor intensive, right? So you don't have to, everything's already chunked up. All you got to do is dump it in. So make it a little bit easier. Okay, here we have our apples. Go ahead and get those cut up. I'll show you real quick. Like these are easy. This has a nice thin skin on it, so not a problem. But these Red Delicious, even though it's a pretty apple, the colors are nice and everything, but the skin on them tends to be very thick, and sometimes that's not good in a salad. So use your own discretion. If you feel like you don't like the skin, like you could taste it, see what you think. If you don't like it, then take the skin off. But I think if you don't have too much of it, like here we just have 2 apples in this big salad, and it's cut up in small pieces, it should be fine. But you know, up to you. There's no hard, this is not a hard recipe. This is just, you know, grab some nice fresh fruit, chunk it up, and throw some dressing on it, and everybody loves it. This is kind of a dessert that, you know, everybody gets a bowl when we sit down for our dinner, and then at the end of the dinner, this is kind of what we have. And it's been a hit for at least 50 years of my life. So okay, we'll chop this up, and I'll come back when we get to the next ingredient. Okay, finishing up the apples here. Be sure to cut them up small enough to where, you know, it's an easy bite. It doesn't have to, you know, you're not trying to dice these things, but you don't want, especially with the apples, because they're kind of hard, you don't want a big bite that's gonna not be easy to eat. The nice thing about the apples in this also is they add a crispness that you know, the other fruit in this dish doesn't really have. The pears are a little soft. Of course, the peaches are soft. The grapes are soft. So the apple gives you a nice bite. So nice big bunch of apples in that dish. And then we're going to do some peaches. I've already drained these out. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just kind of keep them up so they're easy to eat. Okay, that's probably enough. I didn't mention on the grapes, make sure you get seedless. You don't want to buy, like, they're pretty and they're good, those like those big red globes. Those would not be good because they got seeds in them. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but you can see I just kind of separate the meat from the skin. Do it however you want. I mean, if it's easier for you to just pull them off, then do it that way. But get my drift. And then we're just going to, again, chunk them. So I'll continue with this, and again, we'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm just finishing up the oranges here. You know, as I was cutting that up, you're probably thinking, why doesn't that idiot get a paring knife to clean this up? And that probably would have been a good idea, but I didn't think about it until I was almost done. So Notice all this juice laying here. I'm gonna do my best to dump that in the bowl as well. But this is where the paring knife would have come in handy. So anyway, use a knife that you're comfortable with. I do a lot of cutting up. I just, stuff that I make, and then I play sous chef for my wife quite a bit. So I'm pretty comfortable with knives. But, do whatever. Use the knife of your choice. Okay. And after saying all that, I'll probably cut the end of my finger off. There we go. So, right in with all that. You see, we're getting a pretty nice bowl of fruit going here now. Without dumping that on the floor, try to get that juice in there. Okay, the last fruit I'm going to do now is Maraschino Cherries. So I've used one jar of these, 10 ounces. Make sure to get them with no stems. Again, the only other fruit I have for this, other than what we've done here, is bananas. And we're not going to do that until maybe a couple hours before we serve it. If there's another fruit that you like that I haven't mentioned here, then throw it in. Okay. So that takes care of the fruit. You see the little trick there for keeping your cutting board from sliding around. It's the wet paper towel. So anyway, see, we got a pretty nice bowl of fruit there. And now we'll make the dressing. Real easy. 3 ingredients. Start out with 2 cups of mayonnaise. Real mayonnaise. I wouldn't use, do not use like an olive oil mayonnaise for this. That probably wouldn't taste too good. There's 1 cup. And don't short on the dressing. If you make the dressing and you've made enough salad to where it doesn't seem moist enough, then you'll want to make some more dressing. I always try to make plenty of dressing, because even after, like, I always make this at least a day ahead of time. The fruit will kind of soak up some of the dressing. So like I said, I'd make sure you got plenty of dressing in this thing. So there's 2 cups mayonnaise. I got about ½ cup sugar. I'm gonna not add quite all of it yet, because I like to taste it. And then I do about ½ a can of evaporated milk. This is just to kind of thin the whole thing out. Anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2. So just mix it up real good. You might, you think mayonnaise, maybe that's not appealing to you, but I guarantee you, if you put this in with all that fruit and a little bit of sugar, it really makes a nice salad. Something I was raised on. You know how sometimes if we're raised on something, we tend to gravitate towards that. But for me, this is the fruit salad that I like. And I think I want a little more sugar in that. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the rest of the sugar in. And it looks a little thick to me, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more of the milk in. Thin it out. And the juice in the fruit will help thin it out, so it's not going to be a thick dressing like that. By the time you get ready to eat it, it's going to thin out a lot, because there's a lot of juice in there. Okay, and now just mix it up. Probably stir this a couple times before we're ready tomorrow. And again, I'm going to taste it. If I think it needs more dressing, which it kind of looks like It might need a little more dressing to me right now. Might mix some more up, stick it in there. But that's Grandma's and Mom's fruit salad. I hope you give it a try. Like and subscribe. Merry Christmas. Don't forget your bananas. And also add 1 stalk of finely chopped celery.